Offshore wind again drawing concern in Ocean City because yesterday the General Assembly passed a bill to expand the state's offshore wind efforts. As WBOC's Kyle Lawrence tells us, this has struck a nerve with people in the resort town.
The goal of this legislation is to increase Maryland's output of wind energy from 2 gigawatts to 8.5. Steve Brunette, who has a house in Ocean City, is worried this expanded effort could lead to his view of the ocean disappearing.
We love going on the boardwalk and looking out over the ocean and seeing the beautiful view.
It kind of takes the ambiance of the whole place down a notch.
While a handful of people are concerned about how offshore wind could impact the view off of Ocean City's coastline, the bigger concern seems to be any possible threat offshore wind poses to the environment.
The impact it's going to have on our fisheries, like I said, not only in the water but in the air. And both of those is a very major impact on both of those for sure.
Ørsted, a company planning to build the turbines, released a statement that reads, in part, "We applaud the Maryland General Assembly's passage of the Power Act and commend Governor Moore for his bold vision to make Maryland an offshore wind leader." But Senator Mary Beth Carrozza still believes this is a matter that warrants a lot more thought.
We really should pause rather than move forward with a procurement.
Another step towards offshore wind, but many in Ocean City are hoping lawmakers take a step back. In Ocean City, Kyle Lawrence, WBOC News, Delmarva's news leader.
And Governor Moore has promised to sign that bill into law. It would go into effect on June 1st of this year. Taking an expensive look at the future of green energy off the coast of Ocean City. Tonight, town officials are considering hiring an environmental consulting firm to look at this proposed wind farm off the coast of the resort town. As WBOC's Kyle Lawrence tells us, the study comes with a $175,000 price tag, which might only be just the beginning.
From Chopper 16, as we look out at the coast off of Ocean City, town officials are concerned wind turbines off the coast could have negative impacts economically and visually. Down on the ground, taking a walk around Ocean City, and you might also see a few stickers opposing offshore wind. One of those stickers belongs to Diana Harris, who is in favor of the town taking a second look at U.S. Wind's proposal to build the turbines.
In my opinion, it's a wonderful use of taxpayer dollars.
According to U.S. Wind, their proposal is for 76 turbines standing at 817 feet tall, roughly 11.5 miles off the coast. This video was provided to WBOC by U.S. Wind, and it shows what they say the turbine's visibility will be from 84th Street at different times of day. And Harris is worried some of these views will deter tourists from Ocean City beaches.
Saturday, when we were having our Hands Across the Beaches rallied, I spoke to several people who just aren't going to come anymore.
But U.S. Wind's Maryland development manager says a study from Rhode Island disputes that.
That study actually showed that tourism increased in Rhode Island after the turbines were built, especially because people wanted to see them.
Terry McGean, Ocean City city manager, says the town is in favor of clean energy if it is done responsibly, and town leaders do not feel U.S. Wind's proposal meets that criteria.
Their submittal to BOEM includes over 120 turbines, 938 feet tall, constructed as close as 11.5 miles from our coast. We don't believe that's responsible development.
The town's concerns are what led to the proposition of hiring a firm to thoroughly examine U.S. Wind's proposal. It would then allow Ocean City to take any possible concerns to the federal level. In Ocean City, Kyle Lawrence, WBOC News, Delmarva's news leader.
We could be seeing more wind turbines off the coast of Delmarva eventually. That's because 3 new wind energy areas have been identified by the Bureau of Ocean Energy. That's a federal agency. They lie off the coasts of Delaware, Virginia, and Ocean City. WBOC's Kyle Lawrence is live on the beach in OC. And Kyle, this new area does not seem to be as controversial as the proposal from U.S. Wind.
Steve, it is all about the distance. Town leaders have taken issue with a proposed wind turbine project 12 miles off this coast. But the new wind energy areas, or WEAs, would be a lot farther out, closer to Assateague, and that has given a second wind to hopes of keeping this coastline clear. These turbines being close enough for beachgoers to see has always been a sore spot for Ocean City leaders. It is why the new WEA, identified by BOEM, stationed about 23.5 nautical miles to the southeast of Ocean City, which can be seen highlighted in pink on this map, was good news.
That's a lot better than 11.9 miles as currently being proposed in the lease area for U.S. Wind.
Back in July, the town hired an outside firm to look at U.S. Wind's proposal to deem if it was responsible. The end goal would be getting U.S. Wind to move its turbines back. And now, the town can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
What this shows is the fact that they can be moved and located further offshore. I think this really substantiates what our position has been all along, that these turbines can be moved further off the coast.
While the distance, in the eyes of Ocean City officials, is better, the new areas do not come without criticism. Senator Mary Beth Carrozza provided WBOC with a statement that in part reads, quote, "Now with the announcement by the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management to expand with 3 wind energy areas, including off of Ocean City, it only makes sense to pause at the federal level. We have even more of an obligation to know the true impact and cost of the development of offshore wind energy on our local area and the entire state of Maryland," end quote. More offshore wind could be on the way to the coast of Ocean City, but this time, the proposal is a bit more appealing to town leaders.
Yeah, absolutely.
BOEM is holding a public comment period through August 31st, and the Bureau plans to hold an offshore wind energy auction by August of next year. Live in Ocean City, Kyle Lawrence, WBOC News, Delmarva's news leader.
All right, Kyle, thank you. Potential wind turbines off the coast of Ocean City generating a lot of discussion tonight. Good evening. Thanks for joining us here for the news at 6. I'm Steve Hammond. The turbines associated with this form of green energy are certainly a hot button issue in Ocean City. They have been for years. People are voicing their opinions at a public hearing that's underway tonight. WBOC's Kyle Orens is live outside of Ocean City Elementary School. And Kyle, it was a large crowd who showed up and they brought passionate opinions with them.
Steve, at 5 o'clock, the public hearing hosted by the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, or BOEM, began, and the turnout has been massive. I'm going to step aside real quick. There were a lot more people out of the door just a couple of minutes ago, but you can still see them trying to funnel people into the main area where I would say there are hundreds of people. Those people were expecting to have about 2 minutes to voice any concerns or ask any questions they had about offshore wind and turbines off the coast of Maryland, but they learned that will no longer be happening. That being said, we did have a chance to speak with a few people here in attendance, and a big concern seems to be the impact that these turbines will have on the environment, any energy costs, or electricity costs that could go along with them. Commercial fishermen are worried about the future. Will these turbines impact their ability to go out on a regular basis and fish? One of the guys that we spoke with in there says where these turbines are planning on going is the main area that him and other commercial fishermen like to go. Now, that being said, we also did have a chance to speak with U.S. Wind, one of the companies who does plan on building these turbines off the coast of Maryland earlier today, and they assured us the lease area where these turbines will go has been federally approved. That's actually why BOEM is hosting this, reviewing the environmental impact study, seeing, again, hearing out concerns, seeing if any adjustments need to be made. But as of right now, U.S. Wind says this is the location that, for commercial fishermen, for the environment, was the best place. It is 88,000 acres, is the best place for these turbines to go. Tune into WBOC again at 7 o'clock. We will have more updates and sound from people here in attendance for you on WBOC. Live in front of Ocean City Elementary, Kyle Lawrence, WBOC News, Delmarva's news leader.
All right, Kyle.
The turbines associated with a certain form of green energy continue to be a hot topic in Ocean City, and folks out there are voicing their opinions at a public hearing tonight. WBOC's Kyle Orange joins us live outside Ocean City Elementary. And Kyle, some passionate opinions from a large crowd tonight.
Todd, at 5 o'clock, the public hearing hosted by the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, or BOEM, began. It was an opportunity for people to come out and voice any concerns or praises they have with U.S. Wind's proposal for offshore wind off the coast of Maryland and Delaware. I'm going to take a step aside. You can see the crowd that is still here. I want to say this pales in comparison to the massive crowd that showed up right at the beginning of this meeting. A lot of those people a little frustrated because they were expecting to have about 2 minutes to get up, have kind of a mic in hand deal where they'd get up in a very public fashion. And again, voice any concerns or praises. Now, people did have a chance to sit down with a court stenographer for about 3 minutes and do any comments that way. We did also have a chance to speak with a few people here in attendance. One woman who I would say definitely in the minority here in Ocean City said she is all for the offshore wind project, feeling that the proposed distance of roughly 11 miles is not a bad idea at all. In fact, saying it could be attractive and that offshore wind could go a long way to keeping our planet environmentally healthy for future generations. On the contrary, a huge concern among the crowd seems to be the environmental impact these turbines could have, mainly on marine life. We also spoke with a few commercial fishermen who say they are very worried about how offshore wind will impact their livelihood. However, U.S. Wind says the turbines could actually present a positive fishing experience.
Commercial fishing out of Ocean City, Maryland's over with. It's done. The sport fishing in the near future is going to be done. So all the people who've got $1 million boats in Ocean City like to come down, want to go fishing, it's all done.
We recently took some folks out, from some local fishermen out to the turbines that are off of Virginia, and they caught 101 sea bass at one turbine in less than 4 hours. So
this event will go on until 9 o'clock. There will also be another open house session just like this one this Thursday at Indian River High School. For anyone that cannot attend this meeting or the next one, you are still able to voice any comments through BOEM's website until November 20th. Live in Ocean City, Kyle Lawrence, WBOC News, Delmarva's news leader.
Topping your 11 at 11 tonight, an opportunity for neighbors in Ocean City to make their voices heard on offshore wind. Earlier tonight, the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, or BOEM, held a public hearing at Ocean City Elementary School. WBOC's Kyle Lawrence joins us live in the Newsplex. Kyle, tonight's public hearing, not quite what many people were expecting.
That's because, Chris, it was not really a public hearing, but more of an open house. People were able to speak with experts on offshore wind and were allotted 3 minutes with a court stenographer who took down comments. But it was not the stand up and talk format many thought they were walking into. At 5 o'clock, hundreds of people gathered at Ocean City Elementary, eager to voice any complaints or compliments they had for U.S. Wind's offshore wind proposal. But the lack of opportunity to speak out loud, says Ocean City's mayor, did not allow the meeting to start off on the right foot.
They were mad. And a lot of people left, and they were very discouraged by the opportunity that was presented to them to speak on something that's very important to this area.
Kate McCloskey says she was frustrated after putting in a lot of prep work.
I have done hours and hours of research to be here tonight to stand up against wind energy.
Others had a few thoughts about this lease area created by BOEM, which could allow for up to 114 turbines anywhere between 11 and 27 miles off the coast, according to U.S. Wind.
I'm scared to death that the windmills are going to kill our fishing industry.
Very concerned about the horseshoe crab population, the whale population, the dolphins.
But not everybody sees these turbines as a negative.
I actually think that what U.S. Wind is proposing 11 miles out is very reasonable. I think actually that the turbines are beautiful, and they are certainly preferable to losing our planet.
And Dave Wilson, U.S. Wind's development manager for Maryland, says the lease area was chosen after over 5 years of research.
this lease area is just kind of that sweet spot where it's not impacting birds. It's outside of the 10-mile typical passerine migration. It's not affecting whales. It's outside of the commercial shipping traffic.
Some dead set on not allowing offshore wind near our coastline. Others see it as the only path forward to saving the environment. Another meeting is scheduled for this Thursday at Indian River High School. BOEM says it will be exactly like today's, so it will not be an open mic format. The public comment period on BOEM's environmental impact study ends on November 20th, and we have the link to submit those comments on our website.
Offshore wind, once again, a hot topic. The Federal Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, or BOEM, hosted a public meeting on Tuesday in Ocean City, and another meeting is happening right now in Dagsboro. WBOC's Kyle Lawrence joins us live inside Indian River High School. Kyle, these meetings play a big role in the federal government's final decision on that offshore wind project.
Right now, Steve, BOEM is taking feedback on its draft environmental impact statement for U.S. Wind's proposal. These meetings give people a chance to voice any opinions or ask any questions in person. Tuesday's event was packed, and today's, as you can see, has a pretty solid turnout. While there are a couple people here in support of offshore wind, the majority does seem to be against it. We are getting a clear picture of, if approved, when people could be sitting on the beach, look out, and catch a glimpse of wind turbines. Dave Wilson, U.S. Wind's development manager for Maryland, says that day could come within the next few years.
The draft environmental impact statement basically puts us on a path to begin construction around 2025.
The feds are getting an earful from people for and against.
It's a game and everybody's playing. I don't think it can produce enough electricity to satisfy the communities around here.
I really appreciate the fact that these turbines can generate clean energy.
Regardless of which camp you fall in, there are still a few steps before U.S. Wind's project is a done deal. The public comment period on BOEM's draft environmental impact statement ends on November 20th. Then, BOEM will release a final EIS in the spring or early summer of 2024. Once that is released,
they'll take maybe at least a month, probably a couple months, and they'll either approve, modify, or disapprove of the project.
If the proposed project of 114 turbines between 11 and 27 miles off the coast is approved, a few other federal agencies will need to give U.S. Wind the okay to get started.
We still have marine mammal permitting to finish and the National Marine Fisheries Service as well.
So, wind turbines off the coast are not a done deal, but U.S. Wind remains hopeful. If U.S. Wind is able to begin construction by 2025, it will still be about a year or two before all of the turbines are up and running. And again, that all hinges on the feedback BOEM receives either online or at the meetings like the one behind me.
The future of offshore wind on Delmarva could be in question. You know, we've been talking a lot in recent weeks about public hearings for U.S. Wind's projects off of our coast. Another company, Ørsted, is also working to bring wind energy to the East Coast, including Delmarva. But as WBOC's Kyle Lawrence tells us, the Danish company is pulling the plug on some projects amid big losses, and that is raising questions about the industry's future.
Steve, Ørsted scrapped 2 projects it had planned for New Jersey. What does that mean for us here on Delmarva? Ørsted says its Skipjack project, which would place turbines around the border of Maryland and Delaware, is still moving forward. According to the New York Times, Ørsted was facing billions of dollars in losses in the New Jersey projects. And the CEO worried the losses were only going to get worse. The company's offshore wind project near our coast is still in the early stages. The Federal Bureau of Ocean Energy Management is assessing this site off the coast of Delaware. It means there are still a lot of boxes to check before Ørsted could get the go-ahead from the feds. And in light of recent news, if that day never comes, Ocean City leaders won't be upset.
We would like the projects moved further offshore. If that's unable to occur, then we would prefer the projects not happen at all.
Ørsted, however, remains committed, saying they will continue to develop Skipjack Wind and expects to, quote, have more clarity on its path forward as we continue discussions with stakeholders in Maryland and Delaware, end quote. In fact, Ørsted has asked the Public Service Commission to keep more tax benefits to help with future projects. The PSC has not made a decision yet.
We also clearly would oppose any additional state dollars or Maryland ratepayer dollars being provided to these firms.
And there are people like Mike Dunn with the Greater Salisbury Committee who hope Ørsted gets its project off the ground.
First and foremost, it's clean energy, right? And it's providing energy for hundreds of thousands of homes, but as importantly, it's jobs.
A hiccup in New Jersey does not appear to have deterred Ørsted from Delmarva, for now. In Ocean City, Kyle Lawrence, WBOC News, Delmarva's news leader.